Hey there, YouTube. Did you get your hands on a nice new drill? Are you wondering what all the settings are on this thing and why you would need them anyway? Today, we explain what they all mean. Let's get started. So for today's demonstration purposes, we're going to start with our Milwaukee M12 Fuel Gen 1 hammer drill. I gotta tell you, it's a nice little drill. There's a lot of buttons on here, so let's just do a little overview of it. And this can apply to a lot of different drills. Doesn't necessarily have to be this drill. Your drill might be a different color. Probably will have some of the same buttons. So this will apply for you as well. So right here on your drill, you would have what's called the speed control or the trigger. See here, you push the button. And it will control the speed of the drill. Okay. Now, there's another button right here and here. It's ambidextrous. This is your direction button. This is for clockwise, okay? And this, if you push the button in the other direction, will turn the drill counterclockwise for screwing and unscrewing purposes. Okay? If we turn the drill down, you'll see we have another little button here. It's labeled 1 or 1 and 2. What this generally is the transmission. This drill has a 2-speed transmission. The number 1 setting is a lower speed, higher torque setting for driving long screws. The number 2 is a lower torque, high speed setting for running smaller screws in faster. Let me demonstrate what I mean. Let's start our drill on 1. We have an assortment of different screw sizes here to demonstrate, but we have our drill set on 1. We have a smaller 1.25 inch sheetrock screw or drywall screw. And as you can see, our drill has no problem driving that screw on the number 1 setting. Also, because these screws are so short, we might even be able to set our drill into the number 2 setting and drive those screws even faster. Okay? So for shorter screws, sometimes you could get away with setting your drill in the number 2 or the high-speed, low-torque setting. Now, as your screws start to grow in size and length, you might need to keep your drill set on that high-torque, low-speed setting. Let's just demonstrate here. I'm gonna drop that screw in. So it's taken some time to drive that screw, right? But let's see what happens when we set it on number 2. No problem, it's still working well. Okay, so you might be able to get away with it on the number 2 setting with this length screw. I will say this, we're driving into pretty soft pine wood here. This is actually, I believe this is fir. If you're driving into a harder type wood, you might have a problem with your drill bit slipping off. You might need to set your drill on that high torque, low speed setting. For instance, even with this softwood, we have this much longer 3-inch screw. Took some time. So let's try to speed that process up by setting the drill on number 2, the high-speed, low-torque setting. As you can see, we're getting a little bit of slipping. And the harder the wood, the more that problem could be exacerbated. So keep that in mind. There are 2 speeds on this drill. Sometimes the first speed will be appropriate, depending on screw length and the material you're driving that screw into, as well as number 2 might be more appropriate to speed up the process if your material is soft enough and your screw length is short enough. Now, there's another reason for different speed transmission on this drill. Drilling purposes. If we were going to be drilling into this fir, this wood, we would be using a standard, let's say, twist bit set, like this one here, okay? This all-purpose kit is made to drill through wood and metal. When we're drilling through wood, we can keep our drill bit set on number 2. It's the speed of the drill that allows the shavings to come out of the hole, continue the drill bit. So drilling through wood, you will get through the wood if you're set on that high speed, low torque setting. Now, if you're gonna be drilling through metal, you're gonna wanna set this transmission on the drill to 1 because it's the pressure of the drill bit on the metal in low speed that would allow you to cut through this steel without creating an enormous amount of heat. The higher speed of the drill bit running on this metal will create an enormous amount of heat at the drill bit point, will cause that drill bit to wear out. It'll go dull very quickly. So the best way to drill through metal is to use the number 1 setting, the high torque, low speed setting. And while you're drilling through the metal, if you could lubricate the drill bit with, let's just say, some oil, that would also keep the drill bit cooler and let it last longer. Make cutting through, you'll be able to make multiple cuts through steel using that method. Oh yeah, don't forget, when you're drilling through metal or any type of materials, safety glasses. When using things like hole saws to go through wood, a high-speed setting is fine as long as you have the appropriate size drill to spin this blade. Remember, an enormous amount of torque is going to be required to spin this hole saw, especially this size, through this wood. So your best bet, you would want to try to set it to number 2 because the high-speed setting is fine for wood. The problem is that because this is a smaller size drill, you might need to set it to 1 for high torque just to keep this drill bit from stalling in the wood material. Like I said, you might have no choice but to go to a larger size drill when you start spinning things like hole saws of this size. So now we know why we have the transmission. Let's move on to some of the other functions here. At the front of the drill, we're going to see some more settings here. We have what looks like a hammer, we have what looks like a screw, and then we have what looks like a drill bit. Let's start out with the hammer. This is basically a hammer style drill. So what does that mean? That means it has the functionality of also being a hammer drill for light masonry type drilling duties. For driving tapcons, for instance, small masonry fasteners. So what you do is, you need the concussive force of a hammer drill to help break through the masonry material. So you're able to set your hammer type drill here on the hammer setting. And what that does is, not only does it spin the drill, it also produces what's called beats per minute. So as this drill is spinning, it's also hammering down onto the material. Now you wouldn't use that in wood, you would have to use that, let's say, this concrete here. What you do is, you would put your masonry bit into your hammer style drill. Okay, you would want to set, this is an instance where you would want to set your hammer drill high speed number 2 setting with the concussive hammer drill setting engaged. Okay, you then place your hammer drill on the concrete. And as you can hear, not only is that drill bit spinning, you could hear the concussive force being transmitted into the concrete and drilling that hole out. For driving these masonry screws, you're going to want to set your hammer drill to the low speed, high torque hammer drill setting. No problem. Let's go to the first setting we were on in the beginning of the video, the drill setting. What that means is that there's no clutch. It's direct motor to chuck connection. Because finally, we have the setting here in the middle. It's the driver setting. The driver settings let you set a clutch Okay? A clutch setting. Why do you set the clutch setting? Because you don't want to, in some instances, overdrive a screw. With this pine, very soft, or fur, so you don't overdrive your screw, you can set the clutch so that the screw will only drive so deep. We could set it down here just to illustrate. So we have our driver setting at 6. So let's see how far into the wood we can actually get with the driver setting at 6. So you see the driver setting at 6 left this screw slightly proud. Let's set it to 8. As you can see, the 8 setting put it just a little bit below flush. Maybe we set it right in the middle at 7. So you could see what those different settings will do. Let's just say we needed, for some reason, to leave our screw extremely proud, and that means sticking up out of the wood. We could set our drill at 2. And you can see, it will leave it sitting up. So this driver function allows you to set that clutch to drive your screws to whatever depth you need. In that same setting, 7, with a larger screw, you could hear that clutch engage, and will only drive the screw so far. Pretty cool, useful in many different functions, a lot of which are escaping me right now. So I'll just drive another screw. Pretty cool. So I think with that, we pretty much rounded out all the functions and buttons on this drill. If there's anything that we left out, make sure you let us know down in the comments section. If there's something we could explain better, leave it down below. If you like this video and you think it's useful, make sure you smash that like button. But as always, have a great one, and I'll see you later. Oh, we got like every drill bit, screws, all kinds of metal, wood. It's supposed to be a simple demonstration, bro. It's just, you know what it is? This hammer drill driver could do so much. You have no choice. I don't even want to get into what this does. But if you want to know, leave it down in the comment section below. We'll go over this in another video. Did you like that video? Wondering what to watch next? Well, why don't you click over here and watch this video? Or click over here and watch this video. If you really like our content, we hope you consider getting subscribed by clicking right here. Thanks a lot, and have a great day, guys.